So welcome back to Papa's Custom Cars. It's Sunday afternoon. We finished Pinto up, got her fired up, and moved out of the garage on her own power and drove over to the little storage space. One of the reasons I had to get the Mustang done, or the Pinto done. I'm sorry, Pinto Mustang. Was my lawnmower, my tractor is in the garage, and in order to get the tractor out, the car that's in front of it has to move, and the Pinto was parked in front of it. So in order to facilitate its move, or at least me repairing the Pinto, I brought the Pinto in and I had to do the carburetor to get it done. So most of the day has gone by. It's probably late afternoon, almost dinner time. So I don't have enough time to go back to work on the Nova, at least on the gas tank drop. So I am going to work on the panels, the power panel for it. I am going to put in a weather pack connector for what I needed to cut to get it out. Everything else is quick connect kind of stuff, like the positive and negative. Those are hardwired to the battery, so I just needed to undo those. But this other part goes to the door locks, and it goes to the windows, the power windows. It provides power for all of those. So I do need to put in a couple of connectors. There's a 3-wire and a 2-wire that I need to put in, the 2-wire for the locks and then the 3-wire for the windows. So we'll go ahead and put those weather pack connectors on, and we'll both learn how to do it. I watched the YouTube video today on how to do it, and I did one yesterday on the Pinto, but I think I did it backwards. I think male goes to female, female goes to male, all kinds of weird stuff. But you'll kind of see the mistake that I made yesterday, probably when I have to go back and fix it later, if I have to fix it. It was a plug-in that really doesn't go to anything. It's just a dead line because there is no AC in the car. It's an AC connector. The connectors are still there. The wires are still there, but they don't energize anything. So without further ado, we'll start working on this power panel. So as you can see, I just went into the trunk, clipped this wire off. You notice these two wires hanging out. Not really sure where they go. I'm going to have to trace those down, but I definitely want the weather pack on this end of the cables. So I'm going to be removing some of this electrical tape and then putting in a 3 connector and a 2 connector, and that'll take care of this. And then when I'm in the car and have the opportunity, I'll put the other side on. They're all color-coded, so it makes it really easy to do. Let me grab my razor knife so I can cut back that electrical tape. These panels will be removed and be on their own on panels. It won't be on this box. I built this box temporarily so that I could drive the car to car shows and that kind of thing. So each panel is individually mounted on there, so they'll be, like I say, they'll be separated later on, and then we can deal with those. So let's cut this away, and it's being rude. There we go. Looks like I caught it right at the connectors too, which is not a good thing. Completely forgot there was a connector inside the connector. As the greens go together here, they're tapped in together. Then we've got 3 larger wires. Those are power windows. They take a little bit more power. I just want to cut this back enough to separate all this fun stuff. I've gotten about 6,400 watches on this panel. One of these days I'm going to have to go through it in greater detail to show everybody what everything does. Everything has a purpose in this panel. There's windows, locks, there's a relay. I've got extra relays in here for any lights, any fans, anything of that nature. But in this particular case, we have these 3 large wires and then these 2 smaller wires. So these 2 will be on their own, and then these 2 will be on their own. So we'll need a 3 and a 2. That's a 1. We don't want a 1. We want a 2. So there's a 2 female and a 2 male. And then we need a 3 male and 3 female. I'll move some things around here so this stuff isn't in the way. eventually each one of these panels is going to be separated from the mains. Like the relays, they'll have a connection in here. This other top panel will have a connection here. They'll all be removable from each other. That way, if we need to, we can separate the panel just for future use. That way, if we have to work on something, we can easily remove it from the vehicle and work on it. So the first trick here, move you over just a pinch, is I've got to get this thing apart. Lower you down a little bit more, give you a little bit better view of what I'm doing here. So these weather packs have this little locker on the back. So we want to open up that lock, and they fight you. And there it goes. So the 3's loose. And then same on the other side. We're going to move the 2's over here real quick. I'm going to do the 3's first. They're larger. So you got little tabs here. You pop open those tabs, and then the whole thing lifts up. That's kind of what you use to lock the wires in place. Of course, it wants to fight you, always. Give our little screwdriver over, but this will work just as well. That one's loose. So you got your male and your female connectors. The thing that I learned today was there are you have the male and the female pin collectors. Like these are the males. You have the stabby thing, and then you have the females. The way to remember is these are backwards. So the male connector gets female prongs, and the female prong gets male prongs. Make sense? That's what I thought. Yesterday, I think I put it together backwards. Now I need females, and of course all I'm finding is males. Give me just a minute to toss those back in, pull these out of there, and grab my case because it's easier to look for them from here. I'll also need 3 of these little rubber buggies. In all actuality, 3 of them, and they're connected to each other, so there's 2 on every one you grab. And we have our female connector, male, 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 male. There's female, female, and female. There we go with our connectors. Move those out of the way. Move the 2 out of the way along with that. So in this particular case, we need to strip these back. They say roughly 5 millimeters. And then buy one of these tools, they say, because you got to have it. It makes life easy. And then this kit also came with the keyways to unhook these from each other. On this one, I need to adjust it to 5 millimeters. Okay, then I just need to grab this one, remove that one. I've used this so much I know exactly where 5 millimeters is. How sad is that? Okay, that can go up there. Now we have our 3 ends. Twist them up really pretty. Before you go any further, put your 1/2 of the rubber boot on there. When you put them on, they say, and I found this easier, is twist them the same direction you're twisting the wires. If you twisted the wires this direction, when you put this on, twist it the same way. And then number 2. We only need one end, mainly because the other end's in the car, so there's no point in putting the other half together. Didn't even think about that, but yeah, it is what it is. So we're going to go with the female side. This feeds into here, and this little tab here goes on the rubber seal because that's what seals it to it. There are different gauge of wiring here, and then this one is to seal. It says seal. That seals the connector to the rubber. And some people do it the opposite way. I like to seal it to the rubber first, and then deal with the wiring. There are some guys that say you can solder it too, make it a little bit sturdier. You keep your wire together, make sure it doesn't go up over the rubber part. And she lays right in there. Twist her in. There she is. Grab your tool, drop it in the seal one. Now, because it's female on this side, when it goes into the car itself, or into the plug itself, these females will go into the male plug. And they say, squish these down as hard as you can. That way they stay put. That one missed. Hate when that happens. So run button. I'll have to get another one. And make sure it goes all the way down to the rubber. Well, that one's sealed. Then I gotta grab one more female out of the box because I wrecked one, or I should say wasted one. I can put these other connectors in here. I'm not gonna need them until I'm in the trunk of the car. So we're gonna put the female back. Okay, here we go. Now for the other ones, you use whatever gauge it is that you're putting together. Each one's going to be a little bit different. I don't remember what exactly gauge this is, so I'm going to start with the smallest. Those are done. Now on these other two, I think I'm going to stick with making this one female and this one male. We're going to finish this one up first, so before we do anything else, I want to get the solder and solder those up. I'm going to be careful with this one because definitely got to get it hot. We just need to let those cool off. Really need one of those small butane. And then, like I said, these are female connectors. They go into the male. pull off quick. Okay, that was easy enough. Okay, so the next step is to slide into the connector. You'll hear them click when they get in there. You see them popping through too. Oh, where's I need to grab my. Easy way to do it is push them in with the needle nose. Get it seated all the way in. Okay. And finally, the last one goes in. Just heard that click. Whoa, that was a little too far. Now that one click. And that one clicked. And once they're all in, just take your connector, line them up, and close it. And voila, you have a WeatherPack connector. Kind of neat. And if you look, they're tight. They don't come out. They're good. And your connectors are right there, so your mails just plug right into it. Boom, 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 and you've got connections. I'm not going to bore you with any more of it, but that's kind of what we're doing this afternoon. I just kind of wanted to show you a little bit more. There have been a lot of hits on this relay board, mainly because of the way it's laid out. I want to do a brief explanation. Each one of the reds is power coming from a fuse up here at the top board. So each one's got its own lead for its own fuse in the system. You've got to label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's a black, ground of course, blue, I believe is the trigger. Red is hot, bringing your power in. Yellow is not, yellow or white, one of them is not used in this instance. These are 5 connection relays, meaning that when the relay's on, there is one that's always hot, and when it's activated, it goes to a different line. So basically, you'll have 2 lines, one that stays hot all the time, and then when you flip it over, it goes to the other one. So it's a relay that you can use to turn things different, do different things. Most of the time, you're going to see a 3 to a 4 wire relay. Like the 1 and 2 are wired for, or number 1 is wired as a basic relay. It has the red, the blue, and the 4 wires, one of them being a trigger, one of them being the power, so on and so forth. So it's a 4-wire relay. I used the 5s here because I may want to go different ways, and if something happens, I want to be able to use one of these other relays as in case something goes wrong with a relay. I also have a mount here for a spare, so that's definitely what that does. There are 2 boxes here. A lot of people will notice only one of them is the remote for the alarm system, and that's the little box here. The other box controls windows, locks, and that type of thing. With the alarm, they talk to each other, so it makes life simple. So when you hit the lock on this one, the alarm goes on, but for 30, it sends a signal over to this one for 30 seconds, and it rolls up the window. So it's kind of cool. So when you lock your car, you don't have to worry about your windows rolling up. It does it for you automatically. Each relay has its own fuse point. They're all numbered. On the outputs for the relays, they're all numbered. And then all of the ends are numbered. And then each wire has a hash mark on it, like 1, 2 hash marks, 3 hash marks, 4, so that you can easily trace which goes to where in case there's ever an issue. And then this block here is the full-on relay block. It is the one that controls everything. Like you'll see, This particular one has got this whole set for, basically these are set for when the car turns on, it energizes the relays. Could be fuel pump, could be whatever it could be, but it energizes the relays when you turn the car on. Like I say, each one of these panels is independent of the other. I did that so that it's easier to trace down wires. I actually went and helped a friend who had a wiring nightmare in his car, where the guy made every single wire on in his whole car red. Just couldn't understand it. These are also color coded to the locks and the windows. Because the windows, of course, use more power, these use relays. Different things happen, and you don't need as large of a wire as you do. I believe it activates a relay and then makes the mechanism work. So that's kind of to give you the rundown on everything. I haven't traced down these green ones yet. I can't remember what they do, but I've got it written down somewhere. So anyway, that's the relay block on the Nova. This is the brains, and then the rest of it is the muscle. Power comes from this block, powers this, and this is the relays going out. So in from the battery to the main to the relays. And then of course I've got extra places on here. I've got two sides. This side is all the relays and everything on these boards. And then the other side could be anything different. Like this particular one on this side powers the alarm systems. It's the hot for the alarm. You got two reds, one going to this alarm box, one going to the lock and window box. So, like I say, everything's got its thing. This is relay number 1. That's your I believe the trigger, if I'm not mistaken. But that kind of tells you how everything works here. Any questions on it, just send a note. I did this like this. This particular one is just a temp panel. I haven't actually made the panel for this one yet, mainly because I just needed it in the car so that I could drive the car around to do what I had to do. Now that the car's engine's out, I can pull this out and I can finish up its wiring, but I want it wired so that everything can plug into everything else. So this will be one of the harnesses coming in, and again, these other ones going out. So that's kind of how this whole setup is. It's kind of cool. It took me a little bit of time. This probably took me 2 or 3 weeks to build. You got to be patient. The 2 boxes didn't come with any instructions at all, so I had to manually trigger every single wire to figure out what every single one of them did. Once you've got it laid out like this, it's relatively easy to put power to it, push the button, and watch what happens on here from this. So that kind of gives you a rundown of everything. But like I say, any questions, comments, concerns, shoot me a note. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. So that's all I'm going to do today. I'm not going to go through the other weather pack with you. I just wanted to show you how these are going to weather pack together. And then, like I say, each individual panel will also weather pack to the other one. So each panel will be removable. In case you ever have to do something, you want to be able to remove the panel from the car. Unlike the way cars are wired now, where everything's in there and you can't do anything, you have to go under the dash and drive yourself insane. This particular panel, when it's in the trunk, will be set up so that I can remove any individual panel, repair it, change something if I have to, rewire something. Say I put a new alarm system, I can pull the whole alarm panel out, put a new one in. But that's kind of how this panel will work. Definitely makes life a lot easier for everybody else in the world. Like I said, I worked on a car. A guy had me come over to help him with his wiring, and every single wire the guy put in the car, not the guy that I helped, but the guy who built the car, every wire was red. So we had to chase every single wire in that car to figure out what it did. And then I basically told him, you need to go out and buy all different colored wiring and wire it one way. And while you're doing it, write it all down. And that's one of the things I'll really, really emphasize on something like this, is write down what everything does. I have a master sheet that tells me what everything does. So like those 2 green ones, I'm not sure where they go to, but if I go to my master sheet, it's going to tell me where those go, and I'll be able to figure it out and move along. But that's definitely something you want to do. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close off this video. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, please. Definitely want to see you on that next video. And look forward to seeing you again. As we take two so that I don't have copyrighted material in my video. So that's pretty much it on this on the weather pack. I'm not going to bore you with doing the weather pack on everything. Definitely, it's a one-shot thing. I noticed that yesterday. I attempted to do it without watching the video and probably did it wrong. Can't remember how it went, but this particular one, I watched the video. Now I know what I'm doing. On this panel, each one of these is going to be separate, so each one of them will have its own connector to the other. You can connect. They have connectors up to 6, I think, on these big types, and then on the smaller wires, you can go up to, I think, 12 or 14 or something. It's a good idea if you're building one of these to have them interconnect. That way, if you have an issue and you need to fix a board, you can unhook it, fix the board, and then hook the board back up. Not just that, but trying to figure out wiring in a board could be a nightmare. And if you've done it once, you don't have to worry about it, because whatever you change on the new board, you change the pins to match that. So everything will always stay the same when you plug it in. It won't be any different. So that each individual panel plugs in, uses its own proprietary plug, and everything connects together, and you don't have to worry about trying to figure out what wire went when. Like I said, I went over to a friend's house. He needed help with his wiring on a street rod, and the man who did the work before him I must have bought a 150-foot spool of red wire, because every wire in that car, for the locks, the windows, everything that car had was red. So in order to track it down through the car itself, we had to actually physically follow every wire or run power to every wire to figure out what it did, and then completely replace the entire wire, because you can't run one color wire on multiple circuits for multiple things, because when it comes down to breaking down, maybe it ain't going to do it on you, or you're selling it, but the next guy's got to know, okay, blue down on that end goes to blue on that end, green, so on and so forth. I've got, I think, 6 or 8 different colored wires. This particular one only uses a few different colored wires. Red is easy. Red is hot. Red is positive from battery and or fuse block. Hot is hot. It makes it really easy. Whites are triggers. Yellows, like I say, I wrote everything down on a master piece of paper. That way, if I ever have to fix anything, I can go in here and I can fix it. Just by looking at that piece of paper. If you don't, even if you plan on keeping the car forever, someday I'm going to pass on and somebody's going to have to fix something eventually, because things go out. And I want the person who goes and looks at it, or me if I forget, because, as we get old, we forget. I can go back to that master sheet of paper and go, okay, this takes care of this takes care of that, this plugs to this plugs to that. So the only suggestion I can give you on these types of panels is take your time, color code it, make a note of everything, or a video. I've got a video of everything, so I could go back to the video if I actually had to, but I also have a piece of paper, old school, to tell me what wire goes where. So my suggestion to you is take your time on these panels, especially relays and that type of thing, and that way, in the end, you're good to go, and the next guy, whoever he may be, can fix work that you did. That's all from me for this weekend. You guys have a great week. Definitely stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. And like I said, I'll see you on the next one, and we'll be back to the Nova's trunk next week.